Welcome, everyone, to Time Talks, where we bring history's greatest minds into today's world. I'm your host, Jamie, and boy, do we have a show for you. You're about to hear from the one and only Ludwig van Beethoven, yes, the Beethoven, about what he thinks of today's music. Now, I know what you're thinking. Beethoven in 2025? Oh, trust me, it's happening. We're going to dive into his thoughts on TikTok trends, today's music industry, and here's the real kicker. He's going to react to remixes of his own work. And let me tell you, this episode is packed with surprises. Beethoven has opinions, humor, and even some shade to throw. So grab your headphones, settle in, and get ready to time travel with us. Because by the end of this episode, you might just see music and Beethoven in a whole new light.
Guten Tag, Jamie. It is an honor to join you in this chaotic time of much noise and invention.
Chaotic is definitely the word for it. And just so we're clear, folks, this is all imaginary. Beethoven didn't time travel to hang out with us, but if he did, we think this is exactly how he'd talk.
Ja, precisely. Though I must say this experience already feels like a movement from one of my symphonies, unexpected, dramatic, and with an alarming tempo.
You got it, Ludwig. Before we dive into all the modern stuff, TikTok and whatever EDM is, let me ask you this. What does music mean to you?
Music, Jamie, is the voice of the divine. It is a bridge between the earthly and the eternal. To compose is to speak the language of the soul, to touch hearts in ways words never could.
Wow, no wonder you're a legend. All right, folks, we've got a lot to cover, so let's get to it. You've had a chance to hear what the kids are listening to these days, so thoughts? And be honest, we can handle it.
Modern music. It is, how shall I say, both remarkable and perplexing. The variety of instruments and sounds is extraordinary. Your orchestras have become mechanical, even electric. Yet I wonder, where is the depth? Where is the soul?
Oof, hitting us where it hurts right out of the gate. So, would you say you're unimpressed?
Not entirely. Some of it is very intriguing, but much of it feels rushed, like a minuet played by a musician who has had too much wine. There is rhythm, yes, but where is the meaning?
That's fair. All right, let's break it down a bit. How about jazz?
Jazz. This was a pleasant surprise. It's improvisation. It reminds me of the cadenza in a concerto, where the performer may wander freely, guided only by their own genius. It is music that breathes, that lives.
I knew you'd love jazz. It's all about emotion and creativity. Okay, what about pop music?
Pop music. It is, how do you say, catchy? Yes, catchy. It lingers in the ear like a cheerful melody one hears in the marketplace. Pleasant, but will it endure? I am skeptical.
So, no Beyoncé on your playlist?
Beyoncé. Her voice is most impressive, strong and commanding. Perhaps she could teach some of your composers a thing or two about crafting music that stirs the heart.
Fair point. Okay, let's talk about EDM, electronic dance music. What do you think of that?
Elektronische Musik, you say? It is fascinating. The ability to create music from machines is like magic, but it lacks the human touch. Music must connect the performer and the listener. Without that connection, it feels hollow, no matter how loud it is.
So, you're saying it's all about the vibes, but it's missing the soul?
Exactly. However, I do admire its boldness. Were I born in this time, I might have tried my hand at this EDM, perhaps something grand, a symphony of beats.
Oh man, Beethoven dropping a techno album? I'd stream that in a heartbeat. Any final thoughts on today's music?
Your world is full of sound, much of it beautiful, some of it noise. But it is clear that humanity has not lost its love for music. That, at least, gives me hope.
All right, Ludwig, let's have some fun. If you could collaborate with a modern artist, someone alive today, who would it be? And no pressure, but the internet is going to judge your picks.
There are many intriguing musicians in your time, but one name stands out: Hans Zimmer.
Zimmer, the guy who made Inception and The Dark Knight sound like an existential crisis. Solid choice. What draws you to him?
He builds music with the scale and force of a tempest, blending orchestra and innovation. It is like hearing the future crash into the past. I would enjoy shaping such storms with him.
Zimmer-Beethoven sounds like the ultimate cinematic power duo. But what about something a little more rebellious? Maybe a rock legend?
Rock music. It is loud, chaotic, but not without its spirit. I might enjoy working with someone like Jimmy Page.
Led Zeppelin's guitarist? Oh, that's perfect. Beethoven meets Stairway to Heaven. What do you admire about him?
His command of the guitar is virtuosic, and his ability to create tension and release rivals the symphonists of my time. Together, we could craft something thunderous.
Now that's a concert I'd pay top dollar for. All right, let's bring it down a notch. What about jazz?
Miles Davis fascinates me. His trumpet speaks with a soul that words cannot capture.
Miles Davis and Beethoven? That would be pure magic. I can already hear the blend of your symphonic structure with his cool, smoky improvisation.
It would be music without borders, as all music should strive to be.
All right, one last idea. How about working with a modern drummer? Someone like Neil Peart from Rush.
Drummers. They are the heartbeat of any ensemble. I have heard of this Peart. His precision and creativity are remarkable. We would craft rhythms to shake the heavens.
Beethoven, Page, Miles Davis, and Neil Peart. Now that's a supergroup. Would you play piano or conduct?
Why not both? The baton in one hand, the keys under the other, a symphony of fire and freedom.
Ludwig, you're officially the most ambitious collaborator of all time. All right, Ludwig, let's kick it up a notch. We've already talked about the wild ride that is modern music, but now I want to dive into what kind of music you'd be into today if you were alive and living in this wild world of ours. So imagine you're living in 2025. What's on your playlist?
Ah yes, the music of today. It is like a grand buffet. So much to sample, so many flavors. I would certainly need to explore everything: classical, jazz, pop, rock, EDM, everything. One must study all forms to truly master the craft.
Nice. You wouldn't just stick to Beethoven's greatest hits?
Of course not. A composer must evolve. In my time, I pushed the boundaries of what was possible. Why would I not do the same now? The difference is, your world is moving much faster.
Yeah, the pace is definitely a bit quicker now. You could say people have less patience for long symphonies, you know?
Patience? Music should take its time to develop. A symphony is like a story. You can't rush it. But yes, I understand. Your attention spans are shorter now. You want quick bursts of energy, shorter songs, quick hooks, instant gratification. I too could find that intriguing, in moderation.
Right, so no 1-minute TikTok songs for Beethoven, huh? Have you heard of it?
I believe you mentioned it earlier, a metronome app?
Not quite. It's a platform for short videos often set to music. Your work is huge there. Dances, memes, even parodies.
Interesting. My music reduced to mere seconds?
Yep. 15 seconds is a lifetime on TikTok.
TikTok. It is amusing, no? My music reduced to mere seconds. Yet, if it brings people to my works, if they hear my true music after, then I welcome it. But I would hope they do not stop at 15 seconds. There is much more to discover. Music is a journey, not a fleeting moment.
You'd be a TikTok star, Ludwig. Beethoven challenges Mozart to a remix battle.
Only if I win.
All right, Ludwig. Let's move on to a little experiment. We've diving into 21st century remix culture. We've taken your masterpieces and thrown them into the blender of modern music.
Thrown into a blender? I hope you did not shred the scores.
No scores were harmed, I promise. Let's start with something light. A jazz remix of Symphony No. 5 by Nezrality. Picture yourself in a smoky jazz club, martini in hand.
Ah, jazz. We've discussed this before, Jamie. I've grown quite fond of the genre's freedom and playfulness. This interpretation, it takes my symphony from the concert hall to a lively soiree. It's like my music has loosened its tie, picked up a glass of wine, and joined the dance floor.
I love that image. Your symphony out on the town. So you're a fan?
Absolutely. The horns, the syncopation, the energy, it captures a spirit of joy that even I couldn't have imagined.
Oh, here it comes. The famous Beethoven critique?
Though I must say the theme loses some of its gravity. In its original form, it's the sound of destiny knocking. Here, it's more like destiny winking and saying, "Care to dance?" A charming transformation, nonetheless.
That's a glowing review if I've ever heard one. Okay, let's shift gears. Next up, we've got a hip-hop remix of Moonlight Sonata. Brace yourself, this one's different.
Hip-hop, you say? I admit, this genre is new to me. But there's something engaging about it, the rhythm, the beat. It's almost like a heartbeat, pushing forward relentlessly. And there, my melody remains, though wrapped in something much grittier. It's raw, it's emotional, yet it's more direct. In a way, it doesn't dwell on the depths like I did, but it speaks in a language all its own. Very interesting.
You like it?
I wouldn't say it's the same as the Moonlight I envisioned, but I can certainly appreciate the energy. The rhythm is where the soul of this music lies, isn't it? It's different, yes, but it brings something new to the table. If I could have blended that spirit into my own time, who knows what I might have composed?
It would have been revolutionary for sure. All right, last one. This is an EDM remix of For Elise by White Record. We know you've got strong feelings about electronic music, but let's see how this version sits with you.
The machines again, EDM. As I've said before, there's a certain coldness to electronic music. It lacks the human touch that I hold dear, but I will admit, this has a certain drive. The rhythm pushes forward relentlessly. It's as if my little piece has been taken to the grandest of stages, dressed in lights and energy, but it still lacks something essential, something human.
So, you're not a fan of the electronic style?
It's not that I dislike it. I simply believe music is most powerful when it is rooted in the human experience, the expression of joy, sorrow, triumph, and despair. These machines, they don't feel that. They create something almost too perfect. But that said, I must admit, there is a certain power to it. It's certainly not what I would have done, but I understand its appeal.
I guess it's just a very different kind of energy, huh?
Yes, one might say it's more mechanical. But, as with the others, it's a reinvention. And perhaps I can learn to appreciate it for what it is, a unique expression of our time.
Final question. How does it feel hearing your music reimagined for a world so different from your own?
It's humbling and exhilarating. Music is a language that transcends time. These remixes, though far from what I envisioned, prove that my work still speaks to people, even in a world of machines and flashing lights. That, Jamie, is the greatest compliment a composer can receive.
Well said. All right, folks, Beethoven has officially given his nod of approval to the remix culture. Mostly. Just don't expect him to show up at a rave anytime soon.
Let us not get carried away. I'd rather conduct the orchestra than join the dancers.
Fair enough. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of today's extraordinary episode. What a ride it's been, sitting across from the one and only Ludwig van Beethoven, hearing his thoughts on modern music, TikTok trends, and even his own remixes. Who would have thought we'd get to discuss bass drops and glow sticks with a musical genius from the 18th century?
Indeed, Jamie. It has been enlightening, though I am still undecided about these TikTok challenges.
Fair enough, Ludwig. But hey, it's been an honor having you here. Your insights, your humor, and your openness to the wild world we live in today.
The honor has been mine. To see how music, even centuries later, continues to evolve and inspire, that is a gift no composer could have imagined.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey through time and sound. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to Time Talks wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you name it.
Yes, do not forget to share this podcast. Even I understand the importance of, what is it called? Engagement.
That's right. Our pal Beethoven knows the drill. Leave us a review, drop a like, or comment about what you'd like to hear in future episodes. And let us know if there's another historical guest you'd love us to bring back to life for a chat.
Perhaps Mozart, though he may be difficult to keep on topic.
Oh, you know we'll have to make that happen now. All right, until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep listening to great music, whether it's classical, hip-hop, or something in between.
Farewell, my friends, and remember, music is the voice of the soul.
Couldn't have ended it better myself. See you next time on Time Talks.